Brazil and Norway are among the countries that yesterday confirmed their first coronavirus cases. Most of the more than 81,000 cases are still on the Chinese mainland. But countries including Italy and Iran have also seen surges in the disease. All in all, the virus has reached more than 40 countries. CBS News Asia correspondent Ramy Inocencio is in Tokyo, and I want to bring Ramy in. Let's start with the latest numbers in Asia. I see that South Korea reported its highest number of infections in a 24-hour period. So what can you tell us?
Yeah, good evening from Tokyo, Tom. That's right, South Korea. First, we've got to talk about that country because in the past 24 hours, 505 infections were recorded in the country. That's the biggest number of daily infections ever since coronavirus started to rear its head. Now, most of those infections are actually coming from the southeast city of Daegu. Our CBS News team visited that city earlier this week, and it turns out that more than half of all infections that South Korea has now recorded come from that city, in large part because there are allegations that this religious cult associated with some links with the China mainland are actually bringing the infections into South Korea. Investigations are still ongoing, but there is this fear that this religious organization is the hub of this epidemic in the country. Not only that, this is having ramifications for the U.S. military presence in South Korea as well. For example, the U.S.-South Korea joint exercises that were planned to come up in the next couple weeks or so have now been called off until further notice. We also visited the U.S. military presence in Daegu, and they told us that this was definitely a setback, in addition to one U.S. military service member being confirmed with the coronavirus there. But they said, the war is not over, and they're going to continue screening. There are temperature checks that are happening at every single gate. But, the worst people think is still to come.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting juxtaposition here where you're seeing the disease spread at a more rapid rate outside of the country. But there is good news coming out of China with infection rates there slowing reportedly, right?
Yeah, the caveat is that it's just a very small piece of good news. China recorded its daily rise in terms of infections at 433 over the past day. Compare that to South Korea, which is 505. That is the smallest rise in infections ever since January 28th, ever since about a month ago. So that's good news, but keep in mind still, China is still very much the epicenter of all of this, and by all reporting is the cause of all of this. When this first started at the end of December, about 80,000 cases coming out of China, and definitely more than 2,500, 2,600 deaths from inside the country as well.
Yeah, those are some staggering statistics. Now, Ramy, we see that you're in Japan. It was announced today that schools are closing nationwide. One major question that I think a lot of people are looking toward, the Tokyo Olympics are scheduled to begin in July. So what is the outlook there?
That's right. Less than 5 months from now, the Summer Olympics are set to begin on July 24th. Now, there is discussion, there's debate, there's some bristling as well, because over the past few days, there's been some commentary, in particular from the longest-serving member, rather, of the International Olympic Committee, saying that Tokyo's Olympics might be postponed, maybe even canceled. Now, as you might expect, the government here has bristled at that. For example, Tokyo's governor, Yuriko Koike, has said that she thinks it is a matter of personal opinion by that member, Dick Pound. In addition, the minister for the Olympics here has said that preparations are continuing on as planned over the next few months. He also said that, according to a statement that CBS News also received, that those preparations are continuing and that nothing is going to stop them until further notice. With that said, looking around, even as we are here, even as we're looking across the city, more and more people are wearing masks. Anxiety clearly is growing. For example, you mentioned Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said that schools are going to be closed as of next Monday through much of March. That is unprecedented. Museums are closed, and even though the Olympics may not be canceled or postponed just yet, the International Olympic Museum here in Tokyo has already been closed, and a lot of people are watching and waiting and clearly getting more concerned.
Well, let's hope that this outbreak can be contained before those Olympic Games. Ramy, thank you.